From the campus of the University of Kentucky, this is Behind the Blue. I'm Kody Kiser with UK Strategic Communications.
Learning is something I think we all have to do constantly. The world changes, and it's always changing. My background was in physical education and recreation. Your body changes from year to year, so you have to keep up with what your body's doing. But if we're going to be comfortable in our lives, if we're going to be current, we need to learn. You can never shut the book. If you're a seeker of information, it helps you solve your own problems or know where the resources are. If you have other problems, it simply keeps you attuned to what's happening in the world and how to navigate that world. Because the world of the graduate this spring is going to be different by next fall. You can't stop learning no matter what your profession is or what your career is. You have to keep up with the times.
That's Sue Oatey, a retiree who moved to Lexington nearly 9 years ago and found community, curiosity, and new friendships through the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, or OLLI, at the University of Kentucky. Each spring, most of campus is focused on caps and gowns and the beginnings of careers. But UK has also been a national leader in lifelong learning since 1964. And today, more than 1,200 adult learners participate annually in OLLI at UK. OLLI offers educational and enrichment courses, forums, shared interest groups, trips, and events for adults 50 and older. It's designed for engagement and exploration, with classes taught by passionate instructors and experts across a wide range of topics, from culture and wellness to science, writing, history, technology, and more. On this episode of Behind the Blue, I'm joined by Oatey and Joey Conrad, Director of the Office of Lifelong Learning at UK. They talk about what makes lifelong learning so powerful, what surprises people most when they step back into student mode, and how programs like OLLI help adults continue growing long after graduation, not just academically, but socially and personally. Joey Conrad and Sue Oatey, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Great. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you very much.
It is the time of year when generally, as we were kind of talking about before we started recording, most of campus is focused on caps and gowns and first jobs and that type of thing, walking across the stage at Rupp Arena. Joey, you are actually looking at students who kind of return or never wanted to necessarily leave the classroom.
That's absolutely right. Yes. So the Office of Lifelong Learning, where I'm the director for the two programs in there, is all about continuing that kind of pursuit of knowledge throughout our entire lives. We really, our goal is to allow people to continue chasing their passions, staying engaged with their mind, physically, growing new friendships. That's really the whole purpose of it, because we know that learning doesn't stop when we graduate. It is a lifetime activity.
How did your own journey lead you here to the University of Kentucky? And what is it kind of like overseeing a campus that is a campus, quote unquote, that is not really like the campus that we would normally, expect when we think about the University of Kentucky?
Yeah. So it started out after I graduated with my undergraduate degree. The office was reporting to the College of Public Health, and I had a friend who was working there and said, "Hey, they're looking for a part-time program coordinator. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Sure." I, at the time, didn't know about the office, but once I got into it, I just fell in love with the program and the people who participate. And I think that's what has kept me in this role for so many years, is that I hear the passion that people talk about. I hear incredible experiences they've had through their life, and being able to kind of work on programs that provide that opportunity to keep people engaged as they continue to grow older is just really inspiring. And so coming to work every day is just something that's really fun. It's different and a really just unique opportunity.
So for people who are listening, who, let's say, for example, you hop on an elevator with someone and you start up a conversation. and you need to give the quick 30-second, they ask, what do you do? And you tell them, and they ask, and you've got from the first to the sixth floor to get it out. When people ask you, what is the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, like sum it up in a nutshell, what's your quick pitch to tell people what that kind of is?
Yeah, so it is learning opportunities that are all geared towards engagement. So they're all for fun. There are no tests, no grades, no homework. And that is what it is all about, is really just getting with your peers, learning, and everything is designed for adults that are 50 and better. And it's just a great time to kind of explore passions that maybe you didn't get to do when you were going through your undergrad career, or exploring something new, and just really creating connections with new people. 50
or better. I like the sound of that. I'm part of that cohort now, so I appreciate the spin on that. Sue, how did you come to find out about the Osher Institute, and what was the draw there?
It was one of those wonderful things. I moved here when I retired almost 9 years ago. And one of the first groups that I was part of, someone looked at me and said, "You do know about OLLI, don't you?" And I looked back and said, "No, what's OLLI?"
Who is he?
and the response was, "It's the most wonderful thing in the world." So I got on the website and learned that there are, Joey, almost 1,400 people.
That's correct.
Now that are a part of OLLI, all 50 and over. And we offer programs, we offer classes, there is travel. We have the Donovan Forum series in the spring and the fall. There's a different speaker every week. And I also learned, I was new to Kentucky, and I grew up riding horses, so I knew about the thoroughbreds, but I didn't know much about this thing called bourbon. And I thought, if I'm going to live here, I really need to know a little bit about it. At one of the Donovan Forums, someone who's with the James Beam Institute talked about the Beam Institute and the Distillation, Wine, and Brewing Studies program. And I thought, if I become a Donovan scholar, I can take those classes and I can take them online and I can learn all about this industry. So that's how I really got started. I sort of tripped over OLLI from a recommendation from a friend, went to a Donovan Forum, learned about that, and I've been taking classes ever since. I'm sort of like, oh, that one looks fun. This semester I'm taking volcanoes and earthquakes. I've taken the geology of national parks. I took one on sustainability. And I take OLLI classes. I'm a part of a writing group, and it is energizing. You meet new friends, you learn new things, and you really stretch your mind. It keeps you on your toes. I believe that we should exercise our minds and our bodies every day. And OLLI is just a great way to do that.
You mentioned before we started, you have degrees.
Yes.
You've completed that type of thing. So on one hand, in the sense of a freshman perspective, like that first day back in the classroom, in a sense, not something that you were completely unused to. And so, I mean, were there kind of some nerves with this of like, oh, I'm going to go and be part of this environment. I don't know what it's like.
I'm doing it the easy way. I'm one of those lazy people. Every class I've taken is online.
Okay.
So I don't have to worry about parking. I don't have to worry about getting into a seat on a certain day at a certain time. I can sit with my computer at home and listen to lectures and do things. The one exception to that was I took a wine appreciation class as a part of that first set of classes I took. And the professor did some field trips to a winery and did a wine tasting at the Good Barn. And so I was actually on campus for those, but I'm doing it the easy way. I don't have to be in a seat at a certain time on a certain day. I have found the professors absolutely fabulous. I can also go back and review a lecture if I need to, or a session if I need to. just hit rewind and do it all over again.
So from courses on wine, bourbon, to things on culture and wellness, how do you decide what goes into these programs? How do you decide what keeps a 50 and better demographic engaged?
Yeah, so OLLI is a very volunteer-led program. And so all of our courses for the OLLI program are taught by volunteer instructors who are either retired experts in their field or someone who's just very passionate about a subject. And so each semester, we do a fall, spring, and summer. We solicit those proposals, and we have a volunteer curriculum committee that reviews all of those, go through the course objectives, descriptions, everything. And so it really is developed by members for members. And I think that is how we really design curriculum that is engaging to that population, is we really want them to be involved, and they are really designing this ship. We as the office are really here to make that happen and do the kind of administrative stuff. But otherwise, those programs are really created by the members for them.
And this is a good mix of in-person and online. You have a lot of people that come to campus to take part in this as well?
Yes. So we have the OLLI side is fully off campus.
There are two sides.
Yes.
To
The
it.
Donovan, you have the opportunity to come to campus if you would like. But we also have been, with OLLI, have been offering hybrid opportunities. We've been doing completely virtual opportunities. It was one of those changes from COVID where people were a little nervous about that online modality, but it's really stuck with the membership. And we have a lot of people who really enjoy that.
The Donovan Scholar classes are the UK classes that are in the class catalog. The OLLI classes,
Have their own course catalog.
we have our own course catalog, and as Joey explained, it's our members. We have members who are extraordinarily giving, extraordinarily talented. The range of classes we have about 80 classes going on right now. And it's anything from Renaissance art and architecture to, I'm taking a class on the First Amendment with a lawyer and a woman who was a professor her whole life. We have fitness classes, we have dance classes, we have history classes, and then we do social types of events. We have trips. Joey's taken trips overseas several times. We have a really wide variety of things, and I will say this, that our staff is extraordinarily responsive to, why don't we do this? Or have we ever thought about doing that? OLLI members are typically not shy in retiring. Joey's laughing at me, we're not. But if there's a way to do it, we have a committee and we have staff who will see if we can make it happen.
And yeah, so you mentioned the travel. There are also shared interest groups. So it really does seem like there's a community aspect to this that is, maybe almost or just as important as the actual curriculum that goes into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the beauties of this program is that it really does create that learning community. So even outside of classes or, travel opportunities, it's a chance for people to just say, hey, you want to go to dinner later? Or do you want to go grab coffee? It really is creating those connections, which we know are so important as we age. We experienced a lot of that in the pandemic with social isolation. And so keeping that social network is incredibly important. And so that's what we really try to foster through socials and those other opportunities, is creating that community.
And it's helpful too, because every class I take, I meet people that I haven't met before. So you start those conversations and they continue beyond the class often. And we've had a program, I think last summer we did it, and we're doing it again this summer, Sandy's program, where they pick a different restaurant every month in a different neighborhood. And people can sign up to go to lunch together. And it's typically people who don't know each other or haven't met each other. And it's a great way, particularly if you're new to this community, to learn about the community and to meet people.
That's fantastic because it just, again, continues to open doors in so many different directions, and that you're not only learning about the things in the class, but you're meeting people and you're, as you said, learning about the areas that you are visiting, going into, and for people who maybe like you, Sue, who have retired here,
Right.
Opens up the familiarity there, the ability to become familiar with the area that you're in. Let's talk briefly about the Donovan Scholarship and the Donovan Scholars Program. It is a remarkable program. It covers tuition and mandatory fees for people who are 65 and up. Tell me a little bit about that, and how does someone enroll? Is there a limit to what they can study, or a cap on like what you can do with that, or how does it work?
Yeah, so really the only stipulations is you do have to be 65 and older to participate in the program and have to be a resident of Kentucky. And so in order to kind of start that process of becoming a Donovan Scholar, you would just contact our office. We would get you in touch with our Donovan Program Coordinator. From there, she would be able to get you that application, walk you through the UK application process, because you will become an actual student of the university. And then from there, we'll help you figure out, managing the tuition waiver, getting that taken care of, getting you connected to the proper resources that you need in order to enroll in your classes. If you are degree seeking, making sure that you're connected with an advisor and the program that you decide to go with. And so that's what we're really here for, is really connecting you and getting you started with that program.
And this seems like it does change gears a little bit from taking part in something that there are no grades and you're just doing it to learn. This moves you into a place where you are actually earning the grades and passing the class in order to move on, if you so desire to go on towards some sort of degree.
That's correct. Yeah. So with the Donovan program, you can work towards a degree. You can earn it. We just had somebody who earned her PhD, and we're incredibly proud of her. But we also have individuals who are just interested in auditing classes. So it really is a kind of wide variety of options that you can do through that program. And so it's a really fabulous way to get involved in the campus community.
Excellent. Often people think that they have aged out of higher ed. How do these programs kind of change the landscape for Kentucky seniors?
Yeah, I think what is really interesting is that, when we're 18, 19, 20, the traditional college age, we're thinking about, what am I going to do for a career? And so a lot of times those things that we're passionate about sometimes get put on the back burner. And so I think what's incredible about these programs is it's that opportunity to actually go back and study what we wanted to. Think about the opportunities we could have done. We've had individuals who also said, I never had the opportunity to go to college. I never had that opportunity to get that degree. And so they participate in that program and have actually graduated with their bachelor's or master's, and have used that as the kind of third chapter of their career and gone to use it in order to advance in their career. And so I think that's the really beautiful part of this, both of the programs, is that the options are limitless, and it really allows this population in Kentucky to continue growing, contributing to our amazing community here in Kentucky, and just really creating that network of people.
Recently, I had out-of-town guests, and we were doing a tour of one of the local businesses, and started a conversation with a gentleman who was retired but working part-time, and knew me from a tour that I had taken with one of the classes I took about a year and a half ago. Started up a conversation about OLLI and the Donovan Scholars Program, because he knew I had been taking a class. And he said, I'm interested in AI. It's a big deal these days. Do you know if UK has a program? He said, because I'd really like to go back and take classes. I put him in contact with our staff person who does Donovan Scholars, and they were able to make the connection so that he could explore that. I don't know if he'll do it or not, but just that opportunity, that casual conversation might give him an opportunity to pursue something he's really interested in.
Was there a specific kind of I know you said you met this group and they kind of turned you into this, but there's some sort of specific itch that was needed to scratch as far as like what you were looking to, like they say this and then you were like, that's what I was looking to get into, that brought you? Or was it just, I'll give this a try and see? Was there a subject that you never got to study before that you like? What was kind of the catalyst there from hearing about this to then really being the thing that fit for what you were looking for?
When I first got here, I didn't know the community. So I was really interested. The Donovan Forums were a way for me to learn about this community and the people in it and the real special things that happen here. That one Donovan Forum convinced me to start taking classes through Donovan Scholars. But the Donovan Forum also led me to want to know more about OLLI. And I got connected then with a special interest group for writers, which is a fabulous group of about 18 or 20 people. We meet once a week. Someone in that group got me involved as a committee member on the Donovan Forum Committee. And from that, I became a board member for the advisory board for OLLI. So I've sort of tripped, one thing led to another thing that led to another thing. My career was in higher ed, so the value of education and the ability for me to continue learning without taking tests, I'm not looking for another degree, but I really like learning new things. Some in areas that I know about, some in areas that I don't know anything about. So this is a way for me to keep my mind active, to meet new and interesting people, and to really learn more about what this community is all about. And if you talk to people about how do you enhance your well-being as a senior citizen, it's the connections, it's the friendships, it's learning and exploring and keeping active. And OLLI is just a fabulous way to do that for me.
Is there a class that you've taken? I know you've mentioned a few. Are there any that you've taken that have really kind of been a favorite or a kind of a light bulb moment of, oh, I never knew that, or this, I'm so glad I took this? And let me ask too, I'll have you start that answer, but I'll leave it to both of you. Is there a course that is offered that is just like the popular thing that just keeps coming back semester after semester or time after time that people ask for? But for you, I'll ask if there's something specific.
For me, it's the writers group. It's that special interest group. We have people who write in a million different ways. I leave that group every Monday afternoon thinking about 18 different ideas that I didn't have when I got there. And I am so energized about coming back for the next week. It's one of those things where we take the summers off. We don't meet in the summer, and we all moan and groan about it because we will miss each other. We have a couple of people who write pieces that carry on over a number of weeks. And we've all looked at them and said, you can't leave us hanging over the entire summer. Whatever you're doing, you have to finish it, and then you can start again in the fall. That's a group that if you don't get registered for it in the first 5 minutes after registration opens, there's a waiting list. I'm thinking of one instructor, I'll throw this one to you, who has this large group of followers that will take any class she offers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that so in terms of like topics and things that keep coming up, definitely are the most popular seem to be around history. Performing arts are incredibly popular. Our culture classes are very popular. But I think what keeps people coming back are the incredible volunteer instructors that we have. We hear from so many members that they're, again, Most of the instructors are offering different courses each semester, and they said, I don't care what it is. They just bring this topic to life, and I will take whatever they teach. And I think that's what keeps people coming back. Again, it goes back to those connections. And the individuals who are teaching these classes are just, they put so much incredible passion, time, and talent into them that people just appreciate being able to learn from them. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Has being a student again changed, and I'll ask it in a general sense, but for you to specifically respond to it, changed your routine or your perspective on retirement? Or do you hear from people who say, this has changed my whole in a sense, this changed my whole perspective on what I thought was laying ahead of me as I retired, and I wasn't sure. I mean, how does that kind of change the landscape?
I think the best way for me to explain it, a couple of years after I moved here, I was at dinner with friends who are both still working. And one of them looked at me and said, Sue, are you going to start working part-time, doing some consulting, doing something? Second one looked at the first one and said, Sue's having too much fun in retirement to ever go back to work. And I mean, that is it in a nutshell. I'm having a great time, and I am learning a lot, and I have people that I can call, whether it's in class or out of class, that I call friends, and just have adventures with. And that for me is really the extraordinary thing that OLLI has done for me, because I moved here knowing two people. From that, I've got this whole group of friends and this whole group of things to do. And every time this catalog comes out, I look at it, and you can see the pages are turned down because there's at least 6 things I want to do. In the First Amendment class, one of the women introduced herself by saying that she literally creates a spreadsheet every time she gets one of the catalogs, and she takes 5 OLLI classes each semester.
Wow.
So she prioritizes, and it's part of it is I want that person who teaches, but her whole rhythm of taking OLLI classes is 5 a semester.
That's
we have
fantastic.
very devoted OLLI members.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I want to ask you this specifically because of your background in education, but for either of you, if you were standing next to, we talked earlier about it's spring, it's time for commencement, and we have these young graduates who are walking across the stage. If you were standing next to one of these 22, 23-year-old graduating seniors today, what would you tell them in conversation about the importance of keeping that student mindset for the next 40 years or however long? Like the importance of maybe not just kind of completely shifting out of that mode, I'm going to go into career mode, but basically like kind of walking both of those sides.
Learning is something I think we all have to do constantly. The world changes, and it's always changing. My background was in physical education and recreation. Your body changes from year to year, so you have to keep up with what your body's doing. But if we're going to be comfortable in our lives, if we're going to be current, we need to learn. You can never shut the book. You may not be taking tests or getting degrees or certificates, but learning is something that you have to do just to be current in the world. And I think it helps create a mindset that is you're a problem solver. If you're a seeker of information, it helps you solve your own problems or know where the resources are. If you have other problems, it simply keeps you attuned to what's happening in the world and how to navigate that world. Because the world of the graduate this spring is going to be different by next fall. You can't stop learning no matter what your profession is or what your career is. You have to keep up with the times.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that Sue said. And as somebody who is getting ready to graduate, I never expected to go back to get my master's. And working in this program is what inspired me to do it. And I think it's something we have to stay curious. That's what's been so great about this program. Again, we get incredible feedback from our members. And because of that, we're able to, as a staff, able to kind of go back and think about, oh, what if we did this? What if we offered this? What if we tried this? And it really, I think, helps continuously improve the program. And I think that's so important for our current graduates to understand, is that keeping that curious mindset is what's going to help you develop incredible things in your career. It's going to help you figure out where you want to go, find out where your passions are. And I think that's so important, is that, again, even if you're not doing that tests, those grades, if you're staying curious, it's really going to help you and elevate you as a person that allows you to continue to grow in your career. And then after that, for that next chapter of your life.
You also influence others, your friends, your children, your brothers, your sisters, other relatives. If you are continuously learning new things, if you're doing the exploration of new ideas, they will see that as a plus, and they will do it also. And then you'll have a group around you that will go with you on those adventures. Gee, let's try this, let's go there. We do trips with people who've never been to the location, whether it's a day trip or a trip to Europe. You went, where was the last place you went? Greece. Yeah. I'm sure you had people that had never been there. But there was a group of OLLI people that made it comfortable and fun and educational at the same time. Plus, you wear out the staff member by the time he comes home. He needed a vacation. But it is that continuous sense of, I'm learning, and I'm learning about other people. One of the things I think we need these days is to learn about others and to be able to ask the questions. In the OLLI classes that we have and the programs that we have, it's a great opportunity to meet people that you've never met before and learn from them.
How many, on average, how many students are taking part in OLLI, and how many students are taking part in Donovan Scholars? And is there a cap on this, or we've just kind of, we haven't reached the place where we feel like we need a cap? Like where are we with that?
Yeah, so we are just under 1,400 members for this year in the OLLI program, and we had 190 participate in the Donovan program. Right now, there is no cap. We are seeing growth in both programs, and we're incredibly thrilled by that. And we also want to take these programs throughout the state of Kentucky. So that is one of our big goals, is to continue to expand this community, because we feel like the goals and the missions of it are incredibly important for the citizens of Kentucky.
And so Donovan Scholars, that is Kentucky residents.
Correct.
OLLI, is that also Kentucky residents? And how far out from Lexington, Central Kentucky, do we have participants?
Yeah, so with the OLLI program, there is no stipulation. You can be from another state.
Okay.
We have people who have a second home. And so during the spring semester, they are taking online classes from their homes in Florida. And so that is open to anybody who would like to participate. We have a small sister program that is in Moorhead. It is about 100 members. And so we're starting to open satellites as well. But we have participants from Louisville. We have people participating from Northern Kentucky on those online modalities. And so it's really an exciting time because we've been able to kind of implement those online opportunities that we're able to do that for OLLI.
Excellent. If people are interested and they want to know more about either of these programs, and I know we're in the middle of the spring semester, summers will be free, but now I feel like is probably the prime moment to, if you think you're interested, to look into this, get information, and get ready for that fall semester, fall of 2026. Where do people go to sign up, find out more information, that type of thing?
Yeah, so kind of the first stop would be go to our website, so olli@uk.uky.edu. There you'll be able to kind of, the spring course catalog is up there, so you can kind of take a look and see what an example of some of those courses will look like. To participate, right now, before the summer semester, we have a special on our membership, which is $15. So we prorate that for people who want to participate, and that registration will open in May. Starting August 1st is when our new year will open. Annual memberships are $50. That covers you for that entire year. And then each of our courses have their own fee associated with them, and they range anywhere from $20 to $60, depending on which class you're taking. But that would be kind of the first step to do it. If you're interested in Donovan, you can go to that same website, and that'll direct you to the section on the Donovan Scholarship. And from there, we have all of our phone numbers that you'd be able to call, talk to one of us, one of the staff members, and we'd be able to walk you through those and answer any questions.
I would also say that the Donovan Forums, which are different than the Donovan Scholars, which are the weekly speakers in the fall and the spring, are free of charge. We do ask people to register because we have a limited number of seats in the room that we have, but those feature a different speaker every week. They're excellent, but it's a great way to learn a little bit about OLLI and what we do, and to see something different. You don't have to commit to a class that meets a certain number of times. You can do a one-time thing if you want to just try one out.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Is there anything I haven't asked that you feel like is important to get out there or you want to make mention of?
When are you joining, OLLI?
I bet they actually would love a podcast class.
It could be. Could be. We'll talk. Well, Joey Conrad, Sue Oatey, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us on Behind the Blue. I really appreciate it. And, it's good to know curiosity does not have an expiration date of sorts. So thank you so much for sharing about this. Look forward to finding out more myself. And also best of luck to you all with future classes and with the programs in general.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Blue. Behind the Blue is a production of the University of Kentucky. For more stories about how the University of Kentucky is advancing our Commonwealth, visit uknow.uky.edu.